Hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm just going to shoot this video to run through some of my thoughts on intros. It's going to be raw, just my unfiltered thoughts going through over the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm also going to just actually walk through how to transform a bad intro into a really good intro with a real example. But starting out, I just want to walk through the formula I look for when I'm trying to make great intros. Anyone that knows me or has worked with me closely knows that I hate kind of the term system or exact formula for YouTube content because there's so much nuance, there's so much exceptions. But generally, when I look at intros, here's what I want to see. I want to see us deliver on the promise. So you make a promise every time you make a title thumbnail that is promising the viewer something they're going to get in the video. So in the intro, I want to deliver on that in some fashion, whether that is visually showing something along the lines of what they saw in the title thumbnail, or even verbally just reaffirming that, hey, you're going to get this in the video. So many people just have this big promise in their title thumbnail. Their intro is completely disconnected, which is a big issue. Only share necessary context. I always talk about trying to drip feed context throughout a video as opposed to just putting in a big lump at the start. So only share what's necessary for the start of the video. Create intrigue. It's an obvious one. Establish a roadmap or mission. So many people fail here. But I always like to think that after your intro or after your first, let's say 30 seconds, your viewer should have a good idea of what the mission is for the video, and ideally also like a bit of a roadmap they can follow. So something they can follow and understand how this video is going to be structured. So many people just start videos with this kind of rambling, unstructured style. And the viewers are sort of sitting there saying, what am I actually going to get here? Like, how is this video actually going to go down? So that's why I like having a roadmap established in my intro. And then fifth, this is the simple one, but so important, seamlessly flow into the first storyline. I said something a few years ago where I said the best intro doesn't even feel like an intro. It just feels like the start of the video. The viewer shouldn't be able to point at your intro and say, that's where it ended. It should just flow into the rest of the content. So when I say storyline, that could be your first piece of action. If you're an education YouTuber, it could be your first point or your first piece of value. Just getting into that first thing with a seamless flow. So there's no like, hey, that's my intro. And now let's go start the video. We don't want it to be disconnected like that. So let's actually just walk through an example. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller. Oh, that's too small. How about that? Let's walk through an example. So this is someone that I had in a previous cohort of my accelerator, and the video is titled, What the 1% Don't Want You to Know. So it's a finance video about ownership and about real estate. And let's just sort of look at what she had first. Critique it, and then actually rewrite it live in this video together and see what we can do. So this is her intro. I'm just going to really quickly read it out. Hey everybody, my name is Kyla. Welcome to my channel where I talk about the stock market and the economy, amongst other things. Today I'm going to talk about the real ownership economy. This is something that I talked about in the piece last week and why the economy feels bad. And I think part of the reason is we just don't own stuff. There's a huge dispersion of wealth, and I'm going to talk about all that and more, talk about real estate, talk about the stock market, and talk about equity in the companies that you work for. So I'm sure already people are already noticing some issues here and some things that we can work on, but let's dig in a little bit and actually highlight those issues. So starting out, hey everybody, my name is Kyla, welcome to the channel. Like, this is just not needed. We don't need to start with this introduction. We don't need to introduce to the viewers who we are or what we do in the channel. It's all kind of dead space, and it's very old school YouTube to kind of say, hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today they're doing this, or this is what we cover here. Just not needed. So I would get rid of all that immediately. However, I do quite like how she makes a statement here. Today I'm going to talk about the real ownership economy. The real ownership economy is interesting language. So I'm giving that sort of the green light because I do like the statement that just sort of gets into the meat of what the video is going to be about. But then we make another mistake, which is a callback. This is something that I talked about in the piece last week. Please, anyone watching this, just don't do callbacks in your video unless you're like Mr. Beast and getting 100 million views a video or something. Most people haven't seen your previous video, so mentioning it in the start of your current video they're watching is just basically saying, hey, you missed this, or hey, you haven't seen this. It's just talking about context we don't have, and it's just a big issue in a lot of intros I see. However, I do like this. We just don't own stuff. Something about that language and that sentence like appealed to me quite a lot, so I like that. But then all this is just so loose. Remember in my intro formula just a few minutes ago how I said I like to have a mission and a clear roadmap? This is just loose. Dispersion of wealth, real estate, stock market, equity. It just sounds like a big jumble of random bits and pieces together. So let's actually just take this and rewrite this intro, because we don't have a clear mission for the video. It's too long and there's no title thumbnail connection. That's something else to think about as well. Is like, we had this title talking about what the 1% don't want you to know. Just remember that, what the 1% of people don't want you to know. Where in that intro do we mention the 1%? We actually don't mention it at all. So there's almost like no connection to the title thumbnail in that intro. So let's try to rewrite this together. Here's what I'm looking for as we rewrite this. I want better title and thumbnail connection, so I want to deliver on that promise better. I want it to feel authentic to the creator's style of delivery. So the creator in question here, she's a really good creator. She has like a really good like style of delivery. So I don't want it to be too salesy or too structured in a way. So we need to keep it to that authentic style she has. We need to give the video a clearer mission, and we definitely need more intrigue mixed in there. So this is the intro that I put together. Now, for anyone that's going to critique me on this, I believe I put this together in under 2 minutes. This was literally just me looking at her thing and just rewriting it. But here's what I had. The economy can sometimes feel rigged. Wealth disparity grows larger with each passing year. Why? Well, a big part of that is down to a simple fact. We don't own stuff. So in this video, we're going to talk about what the 1% don't want you to know about ownership by explaining, number one, the real problem we're facing. Number two, the reason this problem exists. Number three, the potential solutions that we should be pushing for. So starting off, that's my intro, okay? So what did I do here, and why do I think it makes the intro considerably better? First of all, I really like this really strong statement that also poses a question. So the economy can sometimes feel rigged. Rigged is like emotional language. It's very intense. And then leaving this question of like why immediately starts to plant a seed in the viewer's head. Why does this happen? Why does it feel rigged? I kept this piece from the original because as I mentioned, as I was going through that original, I do like that we don't own stuff. That's just an interesting line, an interesting piece of language. So I kept that. Then I made sure, let me just move myself over here temporarily. Then I made sure that we had this title thumbnail connection, what the 1% don't want you to know about ownership. I also think this creates like a nice bit of intrigue, what they don't want you to know. Like, what don't they want me to know? Like, I want to know now. Like, what don't they want me to know? It creates intrigue. It also creates a bit of an enemy, like what the 1% are holding against you, which I think just naturally makes the video more intriguing and more, gives me more curiosity about what we're going to cover. And the last two things are just so simple, but they make such a big difference. So I give the video a roadmap, 1, 2, 3, make it a bit of a listicle, give some structure. In her previous version, there was just a lot of loose rambling. This gives clear structure to what we're going to cover. And finally, there's this sentence here, which is kind of a bridging sentence to give the intro a seamless flow. It wasn't, so that's what we're going to cover, and then intro reel plays, and then, okay, now let's cover it. It's, so starting off, just that language, starting off, that gets us into the first point really seamlessly. So really when you compare these side by side, let me move my big head over here. When you compare these side by side, like essentially I've said the same thing, like we're making the same video. It's just a case of being very strategic with the language we use and how we structure it. We've gone from this quite loose, fluffy intro with no clear idea of what we're going to cover to something very pragmatic, to the point, clear. And sometimes people think this is too much effort, and I definitely have the benefit of having, probably over the years, I've wrote thousands of intros for clients, like ghostwrite a lot for different clients. So it gives me an advantage, but this took me 2 or 3 minutes to improve. And after watching this video, hopefully when you're writing your intros, like you can go and look at it and just in 5 or 10 minutes, use some of these techniques, some of these tactics to just improve the video. So hopefully this was useful, keeping it under the 10-minute mark, because I know everyone's time is really valuable. And if you want to see me do more of these really quick rants and rambles to the camera to post on Twitter or other places, let me know. And also, if anyone is interested in joining my next accelerator, you can expect a lot of stuff like this. It's just me talking about YouTube for honestly 5-6 hours every week. You get so much content, and our next cohort is going to be starting towards the end of July. So I'll be posting that as a reply to this video. And also, just for the sake of it, anyone who likes and retweets this, to share the good word, to share the good information, we'll put you in a randomizer and pick one person to give a scholarship to the next cohort, because the cohort costs thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. It's only for creators that can afford it. But we'll give a scholarship to someone who likes and retweets. So hopefully this was useful. Have a good rest of your day, everyone.